Today we're going to be looking at 3 ways that you can blitz somebody with a combo. We're going to look at footage and see how I did this to Jeff Chan from MMA Shredded. Very often on the channel, when I am teaching you guys something, I like to give you a technical breakdown, an explanation where, we're just in this space and I just go, okay, if we're talking about blitzing, you'll do this and this and this and this. And sometimes I feel that's all you need. But today I want to go one step further and I want to use the footage of me sparring Jeff and show you a couple strategies, a couple tactics that I utilize that allowed me to blitz on somebody of his skill level. And make no mistake, Jeff has a high skill level. He's a very good fighter, a very accomplished fighter, somebody who made it all the way to competing in 1FC. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about today is when you have an opponent who is very good at backing up. And that's something Jeff is good at. He's good at creating space, creating distance, and for most people that makes it very difficult for them to successfully blitz him. So what did I do to negate this backwards movement in one of my blitzes that allowed me to land a clean cross at the end? Well, number one, my first shot is not a full commitment. I step forward and I flick a jab and it just goes out halfway. And all I'm looking to do in that initial moment is gauge how quickly he's moved back and if I have to start moving towards him or I can stand my ground. So that initial jab is a great way to start your blitz. 1. And then from there, changing levels to start making them get scared with a jab and then another flick jab up high to really start distracting them before the final cross. Essentially, on this, what we're looking to do is use that fake jab at the beginning to start off the motion and then follow up and constantly be moving forward. Footwork is very important when you're blitzing, and when you have somebody who's actively moving back, it's even more important to stay in motion and to continue following them. And that is why I was able to land this final cross on Jeff at the end of the combo. Whereas if I would have just stepped forward and done something like jab, jab, cross, he would have been gone. But it's the level changing, that initial shot, which is only out halfway, and you play with that. Right? From now on, if you have somebody who's going backwards, just give them that shot. If they run away, you don't have to follow up and waste energy. But if they maintain within distance, then you can continue your attack. And everybody keep in mind, if you are looking to up your skill set in terms of blitzing people, striking, building confidence in your offense, you can head over to my Strike Ready program where I have an amazing offense course with 20+ videos, live calls which are recorded, which you can watch, where people who are taking the course were able to ask questions and pick my brain about everything offense. Link down below, head over to Strike Ready Combat to grab your training course today. The second strategy to blitzing somebody is to get a really high guard and as they go to attack, not give them any space by backing up yourself. Basically the opposite of what Jeff was just doing. He was backing up when I attacked. I go high guard and even close the space off a little bit. That makes him jammed. Makes him feel like, okay, there's no point in continuing to punch because my opponent is way too close. And then as soon as he stops, I go click. Now it's my turn. And then I can start rapidly throwing those hands and just finding the holes. And you might still be going, well, Gabriel, how do you throw like 7 punches without the worrying of somebody countering you? Because to be realistic, it's hard to blitz out your hands and have them come back to your head every time. What am I looking for him to do? I'm looking for that first punch or two to make him go very high on his guard. Because from here, the counter shots are just like tri-step extensions instead of when they're down here and they can actually snap. So you're looking for that guard to be a little bit too high, for it to be a little compromised, and knowing that the counters are not going to be devastating. That's all I was doing, just waiting for that moment where I went, okay, He had his turn, I jammed him, I take a little micro step back, and then I go into my turn. And again, you notice that I do a level switch, not just hunting the head, but also going down to the body. The final way that I want to talk about blitzing is stepping forward with a body hook and then following up on the punch combo and then finishing with a clinch to basically neutralize any ability this guy has of getting off any technique of his own. So in my experience, people are very, very familiar with straight shots leading off. But when you step in and fire down to the body on that initial shot, you often get a reaction where they kind of go, oh, and they freeze. And that's what happened here. The step in and then following up with the other punches, making sure again that I'm putting that forwards pressure on them so they feel like, okay, I actively have to be backing up, which makes it harder for them to get the counter going. And then as I'm throwing and I go, okay, now I'm starting to feel like this punch combo, the sequence has reached its closing. Then from there, I'm reaching, wrapping, and collapsing down. And this is a great way for you to have the confidence on the starting point to blitz and then to close off so you know you have the final word. When you're not worried about them getting that counter off and you have that confidence in the fact that you are the only person throwing, you are so much more willing to make that entry and to be the one to go first, but also last. Again, I come with my body shot and then I follow up with whatever I want, pushing that forwards pressure, wrapping up, and then at the end, I threw a head knee. You could do anything. You could go body knee, you could go for a throw, you could just frame and push off. Any of those are viable options. So there are 3 ways that I successfully blitzed combos at Jeff Chan without going, oh, I'm getting smashed and countered because my combos are too lengthy. In my opinion, combos of 2 and 3 are great, but when you can start throwing 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s, that's just so awesome. And it's what we should be striving to do sometimes in training. That's all, guys. Thanks for joining. I'll see you back here soon for another video.